Hey, Tony from Bikeberry here. Today I'm going to put some things on the bike, like things that you could see other people with, things that people can see you with, and the all-important zip tie before I even test the bicycle. Let's roll. Let's start with everything that I'm working with today. So if you look at a good package of zip ties, these are some pretty fat guys. They're maybe what, quarter inch or a little bit better wide, pretty heavy duty. Then, 3/16 or so, about 14 inches long, 18 inches long, right? But then also I have these stainless steel zip ties that are 11 inches long. So those are pretty cool. And the other thing I'm glad I did was put a mirror on my bike and then also a rear light. I thought those are really important. One, because as I'm testing the bike, I'm out on the road and I need to be able to see traffic behind me and not have to turn my head. Then the light makes it just so they can see me. So I think those are important before you even start your engine. And finally, this really helped me too. So it's a loom that is like a wrap style loom. I used it for my CDI wires and then also my fuel line. Let's look at the black bike here as an example. I used stainless steel zip ties here. We've got, it's kind of hard to see, I got covers on stuff, but zip ties there, down here, just, all over. I used this loom on the fuel line. Let's start right at the handlebars because that's where a lot of your cables originate. I have the dual lever, brake lever here, and you can see that it goes down. I have this kind of tin plate here, but you can see I have one zip tie there that manages my front disc brake. And that has worked really well. It hasn't moved or anything, it stayed really tight. So we follow that up and then we go to the next one. So if we go to this guy right here, you can see that I connected it to my speedometer. So there's my speedometer. Follow it down. You can see I got one there. And I used, the buckle mechanism here as the spot for the cable to go through. And it hasn't moved at all. Again, I've ridden this lots and lots and lots of miles, and it hasn't moved at all. And it's pretty straight, and then kind of bulges out. But I haven't had any issues with it, okay? Beyond that, we have our clutch. You can see that, let's go down this way. You can see that I use what I call the buckle part. Get it to focus here. What I call the buckle part. That's where I put the cable through. So you can see the throttle cable runs all the way down here. Runs right here, zip tied, double zip tied, and then shoot, right into the carburetor. Now I take an old piece of tie-down strap and I leave this on the frame so that when I work on it, I can hang it from my hoist up there, okay? So that's what this is on there for. So it kind of acts as a tie for, let's say, my rear brake here. You can see that it goes here and then it has a zip tie there and then another zip tie, and then it goes all the way around to the dual brake lever. Now, since I built this bike, I've had the gas tank on the back. I didn't really want one on the frame with the big hump there. I want it on the back. My goal is to put one of the round ones on here. I just haven't done it yet. But I did want to show you how I handled the fuel line. So the fuel line comes out of the tank, goes into the filter, and of course it goes right on top of this brake mechanism that moves, right? So I put this spiral loom on there and it's been really great. I check it all the time and make sure it's not popping off or wearing or being annoying or anything, and it's done really well. Another place that I put the loom is right here on my CDI wires. So you can see I got it cabled there. It's not actually that tight, like I can move it all because I want it a little loose, but it keeps all the wires together but makes it maintenanceable if I need to pull it apart. So I haven't really strapped it like crazy tight. It just works really well. So I like that spiral loom. You guys should use it too. The two things that I was really glad that I put on my bike before I even fired the engine up the first time was a rear tail light. So I put that on there. And then the second thing is I put a really good mirror on my handlebars, because as I was testing the bike out and riding up and down the road and everything, I could literally look in that rearview mirror and check the traffic behind me to make sure nobody was going to come up behind me, and and then the tail light just so they could see me. So I got used to having those things on there instead of going, oh, I got the bike all done, and then, oh yeah, I should add those on. I was really glad because it got me used to using a mirror, having a tail light. So I'd recommend you getting that, and we're going to work on that right now. Just to get the video started out right, let's take and put our mirror on first. I got this cool kind of retro style chrome mirror that will take all the nuts and bolts off here. It's pretty simple installation, but you'll be glad you have it. Then next we're going to replace this reflector with our light. We'll wrap it around the seat post here. Perfect. And remember, like and subscribe and invite your friends. Click the little bell icon so you get notifications when we post new content in here. Go in and also join our Facebook group. If you're in a project and you need help with your project, there's awesome people in there helping each other every single day. You'll be glad that you did. Now, watch through to the end of this video, and we have a special surprise for you that's going to happen when this video series ends on the Switz Cruz bike. Now, back to the regular programming. All right, now that we got our mirror and we got our tail light on here, let's focus on all of these cables. As you can see, they're very much the same as my black bike because I have it's the same setup. We got rear brake, we got throttle, we got clutch on this side, right? Where are we at? Oh, sorry. Right there, okay. Front brake. Remember, we got disc brake in here. I'm going to start with the throttle. What I like to do is I like this to come as straight up as possible and then curve real nicely. Even maybe underneath this bar a little bit. So it's more like, you can see how it's pulled that way, like that. So it's nice and rounded, and the cable can slide up and down real smooth. So remember, you're doing this just so you can start testing the bike and you know that nothing will get bound up. So you don't even have to view this as permanent. You're just trying to start to figure it out, but you want to know some things to do a good job, right the first time. And then you could just go back and only maybe have to fix a few of them or replace a few of them, okay? Again, I'm at the buckle part right here. That's where I want to seat my cable at. Okay, make sure I get straight into the carburetor. I'll do that. And one trick I like to use is the needle nose pliers, and grab it and then roll it in towards the buckle. That'll snap it in another, click or two. And then I take and cut it off, even at a little bit of an angle here, like that. So let's look at it from this side. So we want to get it pretty straight over the carburetor. You can roll it here if you want to see it. Then I'm going to do another one right here. That way I know it's held really nice up against these bars. Again, buckle where the cable is. Let's do this, go this way. And then roll it. Okay, that's pretty nice and clean. Next, we'll go to this brake, and of course, it's a nice straight shot. And I already have it underneath of my strap for my hoist, which I'm gonna leave on there. But I may put another one right here, and then one up front here. All right, rear brake cable. I'm actually gonna do this. I moved the strap back I'm actually going to do this one back here and start tucking it kind of tight. Actually, I'll go underneath because again, put my cable where the buckle is. I'll put it on the bottom. Sometimes you may need like another tool, like a screwdriver or another tool to kind of shove up in there to get them tight. Like that. It's pretty tight and nice. There we go. And we'll do another one up here and we'll make sure that follows the curve of the bar. So I'm going to go actually this way. Like that. Flip that one off. Okay, we're starting to get there. May have to do another one if you want another one, but a lot of you are probably going to put your gas tank on here. So that might, you know, have to deal with that when you do your gas tank work around that. All right, next what we'll do is we'll work on this clutch cable. You can see that it goes all the way over there. Mostly what we want to do is focus on this area. Okay, so starting out from here, getting it tied to the lower bar here and then up like that. So our final cable is our front brake. If you remember a few videos back, I did these heavy duty fender brackets, so that gives us something to attach to if we would like to. But on these, you don't need too much. But let's go ahead and attach it to the fork and then kind of tie all these together in a way that makes sense. To finish up, I'm looking at the cables that come off the handlebars and where do they intersect? Well, I'm seeing these two and I'm seeing these two. You know, ideally I'd love to kind of bundle them together and all that, but that doesn't make sense for how, you know, when you're bouncing on the road and all of that, and then plus you want nice, you know, nice straight pulls in your cables. Like this is ideal. Now on the black bike, you could tell that I shortened a lot of the cables. So that's something that you can do and that we'll cover in a future video. But for right now, you can see that they're all pretty much tied to the frame. And I only have these two bound together because it was a speedometer cable. And the handlebars are lower and all that. But yeah, that kind of gives you an idea of you don't need to go crazy with it. These intersecting points will determine where we put our zip ties, our final zip ties on our cables. So these cables are the factory length, and there's definitely some of them that could be shorter, but we'll do that in another video. I'm not going to worry about it now. Again, we're testing the bike. Totally fine right now. Everything's safe. It's not going to get bound up. But I do notice like this one's kind of sticking out funny. I'm gonna go ahead and put one on there. So I hope this helped you get at least a basic grasp of like where to put zip ties, why you want the cables to flow nicely, because you don't want them getting bound up or anything like that. I always start here at these main points and make sure that, you know, as my bike gets into the testing mode, because we're almost done. If you notice, almost all the parts are on it. We're getting through this. It's going to be exciting. But you could see that the cables are tied off and nothing's going to really be troublesome because there's plenty of sweep. There's plenty of room for everything to do its thing. And we could go in and fine tune it. And then we could kind of test if we want to kind of tighten things up and make it a little more sleek and all that. But, you know, we'll get through that and it's going to be really good. So I want to thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe. And remember, we're going to give this bike away, okay? I want you to type below #BuildItRight. That way we're going to go through and we're going to see all the comments of the people that said that and watched all the way to the end. And then we're going to pick a winner. It's going to be a little while, so we're going to have time to build it up. So the more videos you watch, and we start seeing your name repeat in the comments, you'll have a better chance than anybody else. So thank you. Make sure your bike is all tidy. Make sure you get your mirrors on there. Make sure you get your tail lights on there so people can see you. You can see other people. Your cables are on there all safe, so then you don't get nothing snagged. And plus it looks a lot cleaner. So take care. Appreciate you. Let's roll.